Crap, I don't know what that thumbnail was. Need some more light. There. Hey everybody, this is Brett as usual. Like I always have to announce that, like you don't know who it is. In any case, I've been watching the news lately because of all the stuff going on over in Afghanistan. And you know, you can't force people to be civilized. So, you know, you can kind of meander in that direction though if you spend a long enough time over there. And so that's what's happened. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the you know what. And the you know what in a nutshell is disease. And what they're going to learn about an extreme disease thing like what we're going through is that the people that, for the most part, as far as they can see, in general, are not very healthy are the ones that are the most vulnerable to disease. And that's just how it is. I mean, it's just common sense. The people that are the most healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually are the ones that are most likely to survive various illnesses. And I'm not just talking about the you know what. I'm just giving you some general terms here, and that's what they're going to learn. It's very simple. And so, you know, when you see things on the news, and it may affect you directly because you got kids or something like that, but you should try to not allow all of this to affect you too much. And if you look at it in general terms, like, for instance, the way that humans are evolving, you know, the general way that humans are evolving. And the reason that they're not talking about the things that I talk about on my videos is because they can't. And the reason that they can't is because people are not freaking ready for it. It's as simple as that, you know? I mean, imagine if you're one of those people that's obese and full of drugs and you eat just a horrible diet, etc., etc. There's no way that they're going to put anything on the news that's talking about anything that's going to, you know, throw you under the whatever. And there's such a huge number of people out there that are vulnerable to death from all kinds of diseases. It's not just the you know what, there's all kinds of things. There are so many millions of people out there that have dug themselves some serious health holes. I'm going to say that, I like that one. I'm going to say that again. There are so many people out there that have dug themselves some serious health holes that they can't get out of them. And so you can't just all of a sudden tell those people to start doing things that are really healthy, like what I tell you to do. You can't do that because they can't. They basically just can't do it. And so you're just throwing them under the bus. That's what I was looking for. I was trying to think of that same. Throw them under the what? The desk? Throw them under the car? No, the bus. You can throw them under any kind of a moving vehicle, and they'll be dead. and that might be a better alternative for them than just continuing to live, because there are so many things in our world, potential troubles for them, because they have dug these holes and they can't get out. And so if you watch the news, just remember, it's all catered towards just the general public. It's not necessarily pertaining to you. It's not pertaining to me, the things that they're talking about, because I don't live in their world. I'm not in their world. I'm drinking some kombucha. So there's my homemade kombucha. So if you were to go up to the average person out there and ask them if they drink kombucha, probably at least 80% of the mainstream population doesn't know what that is. They may have heard of it. They may have had one. They may have bought one once at the store. But they don't really know the benefits and why it's important to drink this all the time. Make your own. That's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you guys about the important things like doing enemas, and once in a while, or depending on how sick you are, you really need to do one. And I know that the CDC probably doesn't recommend that. They might not recommend inversion either. But I'm telling you, I'll be doing it today. And I'll be cracking my back, and I just ate Brussels sprouts and homegrown onions and these really yummy little mushrooms. And I fried them in some olive oil, and then I dumped my flaxseed dressing stuff all over them. It was really good. And I can tell that I'm getting healthier every single day. I mean, I can't see specific results like every day, but maybe like every week or every month, I can see how I'm getting gradually healthier. And I keep learning more and more about things. Usually I know about them kind of generally. I don't get like a big piece of the puzzle that just jumps onto my radar all of a sudden very often. Usually it's an improvement on things that I've already learned about in the past, and a more in-depth understanding about how the importance of doing those things. But yeah, I'm kind of getting better and better in regards to my what do they call them in Star Trek? Your screens. I'm putting up the screens. I'm getting better and better at that. And it's when you're a YouTuber, it's really important. The more you're exposed to the public, and the more you decide to expose yourself to the mainstream, the more skills you need regarding being able to deal with them. And on some platforms, on some channels, on some groups, etc., you can put out more aggressive things. And on others, you have to be very discreet and kind of and you barely peek out. You just barely peek out once in a while and put you put just a little morsel. You put a little morsel up there and see if the mouse will come and grab it. So like in my hometown here, that's what I have to do. I have to be very understanding that for the most part they're not ready for squatting or enemas or eating whole foods even. Hang on a second, I've got to go grab the steaming food. Mom, baby.
Definitely.
Almost burned the pan. So, let's see. For those of you that have kids, I'll tell you what my opinion, what I would do if I had a kid. If I had a kid and they were mandating things at the school, I would just pull that kid. I would pull that kid in 1 second and homeschool. But that's just me. You know, that's me. That's what I would do. If if I had a job where they were mandating something, you know, like against my health, what would I do? I would quit just like that and move on. If I lived in a state that was really hardcore mandating things, I would move just like that. That's just me though, you know, that's just me. So those are kind of just my opinions on things like that I would do for myself. I don't tell anybody else what to do unless it's directly affecting me personally. I might tell them to stick it. Or I just might not talk to them like my neighbor. But yeah, I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you can appreciate things that I tell you and opinions and stuff. And yeah, I think, though, as to give you something valuable, to give you something really valuable, I'll tell you the things that I think are most important for good health. The first thing that I did, the first thing that I did was I quit smoking. The next thing I did was I got a membership at a fitness center, but I wouldn't count that as one of the most important things. That was pretty good at the time for me. Then I heard about getting allergy tests. That's not one of the most important things, but you could do that if you want. Then I heard about health food stores because I didn't even know about health food stores. Somebody said, "Have you ever been to a health food store?" I said, "No." "Is there one around here?" And they turned me on to Green Tree Grocers in San Diego. And so I started going to the health food store. And while I was at the health food store, there were kind clerks there that were willing to point me in various directions. And I bought the book of macrobiotics. And I started to learn about yin and yang and natural eating. And then it just dinged in my head, and I immediately stopped eating all processed foods almost 30 years ago. I don't know exactly what the date was, but it was in the very early 90s. And so for all that time, I have not consumed any processed foods. The closest thing that I could tell you that I consumed as far as processed foods were concerned during that time would be white rice. And white rice isn't really it's sort of a processed food. It's just a removal of an extra part of the germ, the outer husk. There's like 3 that can be removed from its original state of growth. So white rice is sort of processed. But other than that, that's the only thing processed that I've ever eaten for almost 30 years. And so that would be definitely one of the most important things that a person could do. Only eat whole foods. The other things would be to get rid of wheat and dairy. That took 8 years for me to do that. And dairy is probably the most addictive food. Dairy was a lot harder for me to quit than cigarettes, but I did eventually. And another thing that's incredibly important, I would say, was to do a lot of emotional healing work. If you have a lot of pain from something that you've experienced in this world, you probably should do breath work. Doing breath work was one of the most important things that I did. American Indian breath work ceremonies. And then I started doing breath work on my own at home. And if you want to learn about that, you could just put Vitality Massage Breath Work into the search on YouTube. Or you could go to my home page and go to the search box. You click the little magnifying box and you put breath work into the search. And I will describe that to you. And then another thing that was hugely, hugely important for me was to get rid of the toxic jobs that I had. And I got rid of the auto detailing business in the very beginning after I started eating whole foods. And I also moved away from my big city, San Diego. I moved away from that. That was really important too. And then I got rid of the windshield repair job, that business in Utah. That's the only part of the auto detailing business that I kept because I needed some income. So you have to figure out some kind of an income to do, something to do to replace the old toxic job. And it may take several jobs before you actually get to a point of where you're satisfied or you're whatever with what you're doing. And so after I got rid of the windshield repair job that got me through massage school. So massage school was a really important thing for me to do. I didn't want to borrow money, but I did get a good Pell Grant, so that was good. But I still had to borrow some money to go to massage school, and I was able to do that. And that only took me 7 months. And it was a kind of a school that I was willing to do because I believed in massage, because I'd been receiving massage for a couple of years, and it was amazing. Like, I knew whenever I go get a massage, that's another thing. Okay, so go get some massage. Receiving massage from my first massage therapist was probably just like a serious aha moment. That was a big time aha moment for me. I was like, because I'd been eating whole foods for about 8 years. I hadn't done any enemas yet. I had just been changing my diet, and largely I was sick a lot. I was sick a lot and looking for answers. And somebody's like, I was in the line. I got some reflexology sitting in the back of the health food store from Fran. I would sit in a big lazy boy recliner, and Fran would rub my feet, and she would use her knuckles and dig the knots and crap out of my feet. And I was like screaming in pain. But after I was done, I was like, wow, I really needed that. I knew I needed it. And then I started to go get massage because I'd received massage on my feet. It was my whole healing thing has been little incremental steps, little tiny steps. And some of them were like a month long, some of them were like a year long. Getting rid of dairy, like I said, was 8 years long to get rid of that. Some people just went right to raw food. It amazes me that some people can say that, and I believe it, that they just went right to raw food overnight from a really bad diet. And it's possible, like if you lived in a really pristine environment out in the country, you grew up that way, you didn't have any emotional issues because you had really great parents that loved you and spent a lot of time with you, etc. And your mom made really pretty good food every night, etc. Then, good air, good water. Then it's possible that you could really go to a super clean diet really fast. That was not the case for me. I was vaccinated like crazy when I was a kid. I was full of mercury fillings. I was a sugar addict. Every day I would go over to the store, to get my candies, my M&Ms and my whatevers. And so it took me oh my God, the withdrawals for me from all these different things. I'm cooking things. I can hear them bubbling. So the withdrawal was taking a long time, and then I had all these emotions. It took me 4 years of Al-Anon meetings. Oh my God, when I think back on all of that, and then when I moved to the country, when I think about all the places that I lived, and how a lot of them were right on busy streets, and that I was getting fumigated by auto exhaust from all of those millions of cars that drove by every day. I'm telling you, That's another thing, a hugely. And if you watch this for very long, you'll probably get inundated to the point of where you can't stand to listen to it anymore because it's just too much for you to handle. Because if you're one of those people that also lives right on in an apartment complex, right on a really busy street, or even in a busy intersection in a big city, you're getting hammered by auto exhaust, especially in morning and evening rush hour traffic. Every single day, you're breathing synthetic oil burning out of car engines. And that's really hard on your liver. It's really hard on your kidneys. It's really hard on your whole body. And it's no wonder people are getting fatter and fatter. And all that fat is full of it, all of those chemicals and stuff. So when I moved to the country for the first time at age 48 or 9, about 8 years ago, there was a whole lot of things that my body, I could feel everything just go, whoa. And I could breathe for the first time. Hi, Michael. Hi, Marie. I could breathe for the first time. And I'm telling you, a lot of people will try and move to the country and they'll fail. They'll have to go back to the city because it's too relieving. It's too healthy for them, and their bodies will like go into this horrid state of detox that they can't handle. You may have to start drinking or smoking or something to get you through. But yeah, there's about 20 things that I would rate as serious high priority health things. Getting the mercury fillings out of my mouth, that was a journey in itself. That was a long time journey. Getting all the mucoid plaque out of my digestive system. For years, I had to do enemas every day. That's how bad it was. Now it's not bad at all. But the experience that I have in real healing, because all of the things that I'm telling you about in this video, in this live presentation, are real healing things that few doctors will talk about. Imagine that. I want you to just stop for a second and imagine that you're somebody that has fibromyalgia, like a friend of mine on Facebook was talking about she has right now. And she has all of these, she has neck pain and digestive issues and headaches and all kinds of things. And if she were to go to a regular medical doctor and tell them all of these issues that she has, would they tell them any of the things that I'm telling you? Would they talk about any of these things that I'm telling you about that I've been through in my life to heal myself? I doubt it. I doubt that they would talk about any of these things. It's possible that they would talk about diet, and it's possible that they might refer them to a dietitian. And who knows what the dietitian might tell them. Who knows? Probably very mainstreamy things. But in any case, yeah, I offer holistic health consultations, and anybody that wants to talk to me, if they do want to talk to me, they realize that I'm not a doctor, and they have to sign like a thing that says that they understand that, and that I'm just sharing my experiences. See, that's what I do on my videos. I just share my experiences and my opinions, but I don't prescribe things. That's what doctors do. And they're able to prescribe things, or they're able to, what do? They put you on. That people will say, well, my doctor put me on some blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to put you on anything. I am going to tell people that I think that they should empower themselves to put themselves on various things. It's called empowerment. And that's what I think that I am doing in my life. And right now, I got to go check the food. So, when I was a kid, shirts with various things on the front of them got really popular. You know, in the late 70s and 80s, these T-shirts, these with prints on them, got really popular. And one of the most popular ones had a vulture on it, and it said, "Patience, my ass, I'm gonna kill something." I'll never forget that one. That was one of my favorites. Do you guys, anybody that grew up in the late 70s and 80s, do you remember those shirts with print? Yeah, there's still shirts with prints on them, but I mean, these were like extravagant freaking prints. You know, and you can still get them, but you don't see the extravagancy of these prints like they used to have. Just crazy freaking things. Patience, my ass, I'm gonna kill something. And so sometimes when I think that I don't have patience, that's what I'll say to myself. I'll say, patience, your ass, you're gonna kill something. But so there are all kinds of people out there that know that I know about a lot of things that are natural health things, but they also know, and they think that, well, maybe that could help me. Or maybe they think, no, I just don't think that would help me because I couldn't do it. Maybe they just couldn't handle it. You remember that line by what's his name? You can't handle it. What was it? Tom Cruise. in I can't even remember. Anyways, the airplane movie. Top Gun. Actually, I think it was a different movie with I haven't watched movies in like over 30 years because as soon as I got on this health thing, I completely blew off a lot of different things that I knew. I just didn't have time to watch movies or play golf, etc. But there was a movie with him and Jack Nicholson where he says, "You can't handle the truth." Yeah, that's it. Emily knows. So, yeah, you can't handle the truth. And so many people just can't handle the truth. And that's why you're not going to hear the truth on the news and stuff. I mean, imagine them calling me to talk about my opinion. One time, a talk show, I think it was a comedy talk show or something, some kind of a late night show, saw one of my videos talking about chemtrails, and they contacted me and they wanted to fly me out to Hollywood and have me on this show. It was about 8 years ago when I lived in Brevard. They wanted to fly me out to Hollywood because they had this new talk show host guy and they were trying to get him popular and it was going to be one of his first shows and they were going to talk about chemtrails and they noticed my fire and pizzazz and they wanted to have me on this show, right? And I was like, no, I don't want to go do that. I can't remember exactly what my reasoning was, but at the time I was really sick from having moved to the country. And that was definitely one of the reasons. And so I don't even know where I was going with that. But shit, I can't even remember. I was trying to connect one branch with another branch, and I can't remember what branches I was connecting. Maybe somebody can help me. A Few Good Men, that's it. I didn't even watch that. I just saw the clip where he said, "You can't handle the truth." And I was like, yeah, that's what people are. They can't handle the truth. And so you just have to be kind of quiet about things and realize that when they're dealing with bloated, most people cannot handle the truth with bloated or so many other different health related things because they're full of diabetes medications, and they're full of high blood pressure medications and all kinds of things, and they think that their doctors are the means to all ends, and some of them. Okay, this is where common sense comes in, because some people have enough common sense and brains to realize that those things are not the ultimate answers to their problems, and other people just don't. They just don't have a high enough IQ, or they're just in denial, or they just can't handle the truth, or whatever it may be. And so, if you're somebody that's smart enough to understand that the more time and effort you put and the more knowledge you understand about natural health, and the better your air, food, and water quality is, and the more peace of mind that you have, and all these different things, there are God knows how many holistic health things that you can work on. Just breathing and exercising, the things that most people know about but don't do. See, a lot of people, if you were to walk up to them and say, "Do you think it's important to exercise?" They'd probably say, "Yeah." Some of them might deny it, actually. But most people would actually admit that. They wouldn't be in denial about exercise, just a basic thing. But if you were to ask them if they do it, or if you were to say, well, how much do you really do it? And be honest. Like, do you go walking every day? Do you at least go walking? Or do you do any stretching? You don't even say the word yoga. Don't even say that, because they might think that that's too new agey. You said, well, do you go and work out at all at any kind of a club where there are other people that might instigate you to actually work out hard? Most of them would say no. They would say something like, well, yeah, I really need to do this. I've been saying for years that I need to do this or that. But if you were to tell them something like that the human body evolved from squatting to take a dump, and that's what they need to do, most of them would mock you and make jokes about you and spread bad things about you, especially in a small town like this. If they go on my homepage of Vitality Massage and they see that I make videos talking about stuff like that, I'm immediately deemed a nutcase. Okay? I'm that crazy nut mother effer that recommends squatting and doing enemas. And so they just they deny it, and so they just keep all their toxicity. And then if they get a toxic bowel, their minds start to go mad. And then what do they do about that? Well, they go to their what. See, it's to the point of where I can't even talk about stuff, because if I talk about stuff and go against the establishment, if I go against the establishment, YouTube might shut me down. And so I can't recommend anything. I can't hardly talk about anything or be against them. So, anyways, yesterday I busted it and sent out 3 packages and finished off 4 pillows. And yeah, but then I had to buy more postage, and I had to pay for another plugin for my website. That was $170. You see, what you guys don't realize is that unless you're self-employed, if you're self-employed, you understand the things that somebody that's self-employed has to deal with. Like, expenses. And there's so many expenses. All that fabric, it's not cheap. Even at a wholesale price, like I get it, it's still 25 bucks a yard. And organic fabric, yeah, that's not cheap. You go to Organic Cotton Plus and look at the prices of Harmony Art fabrics, and you will see. And those big rolls of fabric over there, you see those big rolls of fabric right there? They're starting to get low. And as soon as those are all the way down, I gotta drive down to South Carolina and buy another one. 900, maybe 1,000 now. I think the prices have gone up. 1,000 bucks for each one of those. It's a lot of cash. And so, yeah, the products cost a lot, and there's just a lot of overhead. So if you think my products are expensive, I would think again. And you're welcome. People can see what my products are. They can see basically what they are, and all you got to do is go make your own. Make your own foot friend and see if it's worth it to you to do it for $80. It would cost you $80 to buy one from me, and so it might maybe you could make one for 20 bucks with some wood that you've got out in the garage. And I recommend you do that. I want everyone to do that. So anyways, I think I've talked about enough stuff today. Thanks for joining me. And remember, natural healing is the only healing. And you might also remember that I have never spent even 1 penny on health insurance. I am 56 years old, and I've never spent 1 penny on health insurance. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Be well.